Welcome to the Billy Ho Forecast Show. Please subscribe and like the video. Remember, the more you share, the bigger we grow. Now, let's go! Hello, Billy Ho here. In this week's show, we're rolling to round 2 of the FedEx Cup playoffs. We're headed to Wilmington, Delaware, to the Wilmington Country Club. And we will be, just real quick before we get started, thanks to everybody in the Discord. Please subscribe to the channel and give us a like. Follow me on Twitter at BILLYAH. Billyah40 on Twitter. And just real quick, it's the leaders haven't teed off as of yet on the FedEx St. Jude. Rory McIlroy, huge disappointment, had way too much of him, got way too ambitious. The rest of the lineups were pretty good. I lost a couple guys, got one or two 6 of 6s and a few fairly strong 5 of 6s. So hopefully we at least break even or make a little profit today. And sometimes breaking even's all you need just to buy you another week, just to see if you can get her done that week. If you just get yourself an additional week, you're all good. And what we're going to do now is I am going to get into Wilmington Country Club, 7,530 yards, par 71 golf course. It's a pretty neat looking course, and I'll show you a couple of holes in just a minute. The greens are massive. I had to double take when I looked on the PGA on the USGA sheet, 8,100 square feet on average. So I'd be looking back on the Open Championship on your lag putters. Of course, we're back up northeast. So fairways and greens, we're back on bent grass. Classic playoff, firm and fast conditions, 12.5 to 13 on the stimp on the greens. And I believe our 4-inch rough will be tall fescue and bluegrass. There are 91 bunkers out there to guard both fairways and greens. And there are only 4 holes with water in play. And they are fairly significant, as I'll show you a couple of them here in just a second. So that's just a real quick breakdown, and we're going to get going here and take a look at a couple of holes I want to show you. Okay, this is hole number 2. It's a medium length par 4 dog leg to the left, and it looks like you can take a tee ball right over the top of these bunkers here as we get in a little closer. Off the tee, it's pretty wide open right across those trees there. And but there is another bunker waiting to snag your ball if you're off. You can see how narrow these fairways are, and it's really tough with tall fescue bluegrass. The ball could sit in the middle, they could go all the way down. So it's really kind of a box of chocolates when it comes to measuring out what kind of rough. I mean, Bermuda is just gnarly. That shit just always seems to drop to the bottom, and then you're chunking out. But sometimes you can handle fescue. So this is the medium length par 4, and it looks like you got a small landing area, but you could fly these bunkers and you can have a really, really short flip shot. And the first 2 holes actually look, this is hole 2. Number 1 looks even scoreable. So that's one scoreable hole. Now we will head to hole number 3. This is a narrow, tree-lined, 632-yard par 5. And it pretty much looks like a layup hole to me. As you can see off the tee is winding to the left here. And then you have very small landing areas. And then you have your approach shot. If you really want to attempt it, you got this big, gigantic pond right in front of the green where you got no bailout. No bailout left because that looks like out of bounds, and bailout. Maybe you got to bail out right, but I don't know. This looks like a layup hole to me. So your guess is as good as mine. because I still think you're pushing 300 yards on your approach shot. And so that one, this one looks like a real interesting hole here. So now let's head on to hole number 5. This is a long par 4 with a split fairway that will require here's your landing area, and then here's your green down here. So it's and then you got a little water in play, but the pin, unless the pin's way over here to the left, I don't think water's going to be that much of a factor. So this is a pretty interesting hole as well, I think. All right, we're going to move over to the next hole. I believe this one is hole number 6. A really short par 4. And let's see. Yeah, this is a little hooky par 4 here. Narrow fairway, but maybe guys try to take this on and try to drive it up close to the green. Because, I mean, looks like legitimate landing areas, and you could probably fast and firm your way up into these bunkers, and depending on where they have the tees lined up. So this one's a definite scoring hole. Here's a pretty interesting one. This is hole 14, 582-yard dogleg right, par 5. As you can see, this massive dogleg and these bunkers here. And it's 270 yards to clear these bunkers. So a massive power fade might be able to get you clear of this little dog leg here and maybe give you a chance to get up in here and have a decent look at the green. And maybe even have like a short iron in your hand. You got to beware of the bunkers guarding the green. But other than that, this one looks like a pretty scoreable hole. Birdieable, and probably your only shot an eagle unless you hole out from somewhere. This one's the last par 5. It's a long and narrow par 5. Fairway is narrow. Landing area is pretty wide open, right around here, just past these bunkers. And then it leaves you with a short, probably hybrid club or something, or maybe a long iron, 3-iron, or a driving iron to get into the green. So this one looks pretty good too. So I just wanted to show you all a couple of holes, and this is the link to this flyover will be on the description of the video. So let's get into some skill sets. And I think this week, looking at this, we're going to go good drives combined with driving distance. And I got a little more emphasis on distance this week, because I think that there might be a bomb and gouge approach for some. So we'll keep an eye on that. The fairways are narrow and the rough might be an issue, but I think this fescue can be dealt with. Greens in regulation are obviously going to be easier to come by here with the giant greens, 8,100 square feet, as I told you. They didn't look that big on the flyover, but on average, they are pretty big. So that's going to bring in your lag putting and your 3-putt avoidance numbers. And you might want to do bogey avoidance. I don't know. But what I did was I threw in some par 5s, since we got 3 of them. My standard birdie or better gained and DK points. I threw in some strokes gained par 4, and I went with short game, which will combine that all important lag putting in with some around the green game. Because on these par 5s, you're going to see guys short of the green side, right or left of the greens. And, even though they're 8,100 square feet, not everybody's going to hit a green. Somebody's going to pull a hook or something or other. You never know. So those are all the key stats, I think. Of course, you obviously always have to have approach. And this, when it comes to the best players in the world, strokes gained, tee to green, you can never go wrong. So I think this is a pretty good little combination, and I will tweak until I figure out which way I want to go. What I did was I just left in the St. Jude rankings, because we don't know who's in and who's out. This is the way we'll rank them. Obviously, Tony Finau. This is the last 24 rounds. Just kind of a standard stock. Give you a look at who's doing what. And Rory, this has got to be a bounce back week for him. I don't know with the driver. He seemed to really, really struggle in that Bermuda rough. He was all over the place. Xander, I didn't really see what happened to Xander yesterday, but he had a really, really bad round. Scotty obviously didn't have the putter, and he didn't really. I'm not so much digging that little slide, that right foot slide style he was using. And he's been doing that for a long time, and it's been working. But I don't know, especially Thursday when it was wet and rainy. I mean, that could not have possibly been helping any kind of proximity with irons or off the tee. So JT was a bit of a disappointment too this week. He just never really got anything together. The driver was wonky, and his irons he didn't look confident in at all. And if he ain't dialed in with the irons, you might as well forget about it. Donnie. And so we will be down to top 70. So no more cuts, ladies and gentlemen. Sam Burns might be another one, even though we're not on Bermuda next week. Cam Smith is putting the lights out again. These are just guys that I mentioned in general. Patrick Cantlay is better on bent, in my opinion. So he might be an interesting play. He's always a good lag putter. The 3-putt avoidance, not all that right now. But he looked all right this week. Willie Z, if he wins, hooray. That would really help me out a lot. I don't know. Cam Young got it done. He made the clutch putt to get through the cut. But this does seem like a Cam and gouge type of course. Second in strokes gained tee to green overall in the last 24 rounds. Fifth in driving and fifth both in birdie or better and DK points. And he's in the green everywhere else except for 3 putts and good drives, which is not terrible. The approach might not be as bad since it's going to be bigger greens, so he won't have to be as dialed in. So he'll be less reliant on the short game. Joe Kim hitting fairways, and he's dipped a little bit this week, but he's still playing fairly well. Shane Lowry, bit of a disappointment yesterday, but hopefully he gets a couple of birdies today and moves up. Corey Connors, pretty decent. Rahm was the only one of the 10K plus people I feel like that did anything. And we were all bad mouthing Rahm as him being the worst one. Rory missed a cut. Scotty missed a cut. Xander had a bad day. Cam probably the best, 10-5. And Cantlay, JT, Rahm, I'd rank Cam number 1, Rahm 2, in that order. So, down here, there's going to be some guys. JT Poston, he's still getting it done. And these are just a few guys that are landing in the model. I wanted to dip down here and see if anybody might be popping. Hadley a little bit. And the pricing is not going to obviously be the same, but it's also not going to be that much different. So this is just a first look. I really wanted you to see the course and get a description, because what I think is brand new course. They've never even held a PGA tournament before. So they're going to be trying to impress. They'll get the BMW again in another I think they're in the rotation for the FedEx Cup BMW tournament. I think I saw their name at 2028 or something like that. So I hope you liked the show. I hope you got something out of the golf course. Give a like and subscribe to the channel. Let's get this thing up to 160 this week. I think I'm still sitting on 153. Sub to the channel. Tell a friend. Make up a YouTube account and give it to your grandma or something. And just give Billy Ho a sub. And until the next show, peace. Good luck today.